In today's video, I will be covering exposing financial scams and tax secrets with Grant Cardone.
Today's guest thinks buying a house is the worst investment you can make.
It's dead money. You're not building your net worth when you get a mortgage.
He went from broke drug addict to one of the biggest names in real estate, building a $4 billion portfolio and owning his own private jet.
Stupidity is what creates inflation. It's when people start doing stupid shit with stupid amounts of money.
In this episode, we'll dive into his journey from struggling addict to billionaire mogul, his unconventional approach to investing, as well as his unfiltered views on faith, politics, and escaping the rat race.
This is what I got for the IRS because I know how not to pay federal taxes.
Grant Cardone.
Welcome to the Jack Neal Podcast.
Yeah, Jack, great to be here, man. You cut me by $1 billion on my real estate.
Oh, you're at $5 billion now.
Yeah, so no offense, but I just hate to take a haircut this early in the interview.
Yeah. Well, dang, by the time this comes out, it could be 6.
It could be.
Yeah. But so we're at your house in Malibu right now, and it's pretty nice, man. I appreciate you having us out here.
Yeah,
but,
thanks, man.
I want to say, why is this house the worst investment you've ever made?
Because it's dead money. I mean, it's anybody that buys a single family home you're probably out sequence on what people should do if they want to build wealth. So if you just want a place that you're like, oh, this is mine, which is not. It's the banks. It's the banks, the states, because the property taxes. If you don't pay your mortgage and you don't pay the state, they're going to come take your house. So it's not really your house. Even when it's paid off, it's not your house. It's a terrible investment, okay? Over time, if you look at 100 years, the average house has gone up 1% a year. Doesn't even keep up with inflation. Your money could have been better utilized in a business, starting a company, growing yourself, self-development, or investing in the stock market, or more importantly, maybe even other real estate in your market that would cash flow for you.
Why investing in homes is a waste of money. Grant Cardone challenges the traditional notion of homeownership as an investment, calling it a financial liability rather than an asset. His perspective flips the common belief that owning a home is the best investment. Instead, Grant encourages us to critically evaluate our financial decisions and focus on assets that generate income rather than tie us down. By rethinking this outdated mindset, we can shift our resources toward wealth-building opportunities.
So when I was 28 years old, I went and bought a house. That's what I thought I was supposed to do. And before I could move in the house, luckily somebody offered me to rent the house from me. I literally just accidentally fell into real estate. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I'm gonna either make the payment, it was $400 a month, or I can collect $600. And I'm like, I'm gonna take the $600.
Yeah.
Rent it to her, picked up $200 a month. That was a big deal to me. I was 28 years old, making $200 on an investment. I was like, shit, I'm making $2,400 a year. I put $3,500 down. I'm earning 80% on my money. 45 days later, I buy another house. I'm like, I'm gonna keep trying to do this, right? Yeah. Second house, I put no money down. Now I started figuring out how to do it better. But had I lived in that house, right, I would have settled down. Supposedly that's the thing you're supposed to do. Called it my house, paid the mortgage, paid the property taxes, paid the maintenance, paid for the roof, paid for the termites and the tenant, all the problems, right? The toilets, and not received income. And I think that's the mistake a lot of people are making. Your parents, grandparents, they bought a house, put a mortgage on it for 30 years, cross your fingers and hope it goes up in value,
How banks profit from home loans.
Old man Potter will pay 50 cents on the dollar for every share you've got.
Grant explains how banks leverage home loans to create massive profits while homeowners bear the financial risks. This insight sheds light on how banks play the long game, ensuring they profit regardless of the homeowner's financial situation. It's a wake-up call to rethink where our money goes and recognize how institutions capitalize on our financial habits. Understanding this dynamic empowers us to make smarter decisions with our money.
Time it right, it will.
Yeah.
But if you're buying right now, it's not. It's going to be flat money or negative.
So would you say buying a house is a worse investment than stocks or a Roth IRA?
Yes.
All those things.
Well, the Roth IRA, I mean, you're picking up some of the worst. So buying a house is the worst investment. It's dead money, man. Like, you're not going to make money there. And you're going to pay for it. So rather than buying the house, all you got to do is stay in the same neighborhood and go buy 4 units that cash flow. Rent where you live and use the cash flow from the rentals to pay for where you live.
So you think that's a pretty good investment?
Yeah, this house is this is a ridiculous investment. But I made it once, I made it. I was on the other side of the hustle and the grind and trying to make it.
Yeah.
But it's still a bad investment. Like this house is $40 million. The property taxes are $600,000 a year. So $50,000 a month in property taxes. The interest, had a mortgage on it, would be equal to $2.8 million a year. So that's $200,000, $220,000 a month. So I have to make, what is that? $280 a month. In the first year, I have to make $3.2 million. I'd have to buy the house for $40 million. A year later, sell it for $43. It gets worse in year 2. Now I got to sell it for $47 million to break even. In year 3, I have to sell it for $51 million. In the first 3 years, I'd have to make $11 million on the sale to break even. And I didn't have $40 million earning money.
Yeah.
So it's a terrible investment. And your audience is going to hate me for saying that, but it is. It's a freaking terrible investment. So if your almost rich uncle tells you to go buy a house, it's better.
Why renting is smarter than owning homes. Grant advocates for renting over owning, arguing that renting provides flexibility and frees up capital for better investments. Renting, he explains, allows for liquidity and greater investment opportunities rather than being tied to a mortgage. This perspective challenges conventional wisdom by highlighting how maintaining financial flexibility can lead to higher returns and increased freedom.
Own than rent. He's wrong.
Yeah. You think this is just old news and at one point it was relevant?
I don't think it was ever relevant. I think it was always a scam by the banks. Bank of America has made more money lending people money to buy a house.
So they started banks. They're like, we need to find a way to
we need products.
Make money. Yeah.
We need products. We need products to
of a bank.
Yeah, they said, hey, let's lend people. It's a good collateral. They'll put 5 or 10 or 15 or 20% down, and we'll lend them the money for the house. It's a great loan for 30 years. We get income from it. Loans are assets on a bank's books. A loan for you or debt for you is a liability, but for them it's an asset.
That makes sense.
So it doesn't make sense to me. It's completely backwards balance sheet, right? Banks are terrible, very high risk vehicles. But people believe that if I save my money at the bank, it's safe. It's not safe. And they think if I get a mortgage, I'm somehow building my net worth. You're not building your net worth when you get a mortgage. Okay, and you're not building your credit score. By the way, rich people don't look at their credit score. They look at their assets. The schedule of assets, the cash flow, is what basically values a person's net worth. It's not where they live, the house they live in. Where you live should not even be on your personal financial statement because it is a liability.
Yeah.
So you look at the property taxes in Florida, it's 2%. Here, I think it's a point. Maintenance is a point every year, 1% of whatever the amount was. Interest today is 7%. So 7% of whatever the number is. So you got to take 7 plus 1 plus 1. You'd have to make 9% a year, and you haven't fixed a toilet, the roof, the floors, furnished it, or handled any of the problems. Hadn't put paint on it.
Grant, do you think we should ban corporations from owning single-family homes?
Well, no, you shouldn't. I mean, it's competition, man. First of all, they're not buying that many homes. They represent maybe 10 or 12%.
It's 10 or 12%?
Yeah, it's a small number.
Okay.
Why taxes have gone out of control. Grant discusses the excessive tax burdens in today's economy and their impact on individuals and businesses. His point underscores the importance of financial literacy, particularly in understanding tax strategies. Staying informed about tax laws and leveraging legal loopholes can make a significant difference in preserving wealth and ensuring financial stability.
Taxman! Taxman! Taxman!
Taxes may be inevitable, but with the right knowledge, their impact can be minimized.
Okay? Look, there's so many myths out there. There's so many untruths out there, like the single-family home's a great investment. Companies are buying Blackstone. Blackstone isn't buying fucking They're not buying fucking single family homes. They're buying companies that might own 10,000. So they would come, we own 15,000 units, not single families, but apartment complexes. Blackstone or BlackRock would come consume my whole entity before they would consume one apartment complex at a time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's a bit of a misnomer that, oh, the big corporations are buying all the single family homes. Even if they did, I wouldn't care.
How about international investors? Do you think they should be in the real estate market in the U.S.?
Well, they are. I mean, they are. You know, there's probably top 5 investors in America is Canada. They love to come down here.
Do you think that should be allowed, though? Like, as someone who's pretty patriotic?
Doesn't bother me, man.
No?
Doesn't bother me. Let China come over here and buy shit. It doesn't bother me.
You just like the competition of it?
I like that. I like the action. You know, I like the action. I like that. You know, I like the competition of it. I like the fact that if I build a big enough portfolio, or when we do build a big enough portfolio, you know, maybe one of those guys come gobble me up. But competition's a good thing, man. It's not a bad thing. You know, it's good. It's good to have activity. I compete with all those big guys every day. Like Cardone Capital, my company that we started raising money for, buying these big institutional quality assets. We're every deal I'm on, I'm competing with a Canadian company, possibly a company from Europe, big banks. These are massive institutions. Bank of America, J.P. Morgan. These are Goldman Sachs, Nuveen, all these big giant life companies. They're all Jack. They're all doing business with other countries, and they have investors from other countries. So we're trying to buy their assets and basically democratizing those assets, because I don't use the money of the big banks. What I do is democratize the asset amongst my audience.
Yeah.
So my followers or fans, investors, people that support me and believe in me can invest alongside of me, with me, rather than me going to Bank of America or Blackstone for money. I just go to my audience and we own that asset. And that's what people should start thinking about doing today.
Yeah.
They should use the new examples of ways to raise money that didn't exist 10 years ago, like crowdfunding, like I'm doing.
So you look in markets like Arizona, possibly Florida, maybe. What are the states that you look at predominantly?
You've listed a couple of them already.
Yeah.
Arizona, Texas, Florida.
Do you ever look
Alabama.
at international markets for real estate?
Oh, we do. I was in Dubai recently looking.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think are some untapped international markets for real estate?
Well, the question is whether the time's right. Like I wouldn't buy Dubai right now because I think Dubai is overbuilt. They have 100,000 new units coming on. So, look, I got my hands full in America, dude. There's enough real estate.
Why hustling in the free market is the only way to succeed. Grant emphasizes the necessity of hard work and leveraging the free market to achieve financial success, rather than relying on external systems or entitlements. This resonates deeply with the entrepreneurial spirit, highlighting that success is built on hustle and adaptability. The free market rewards those who innovate, solve problems, and create value. By focusing on these principles, anyone can chart their path to financial independence.
In America, we own 15,000 units, about $5 billion. My goal is to go to 150,000 units and 50 billion or higher. I know I can do this. I absolutely 100% know that I can pull this off without using institutional money and banks and big corporations. So I got my hands full. This is the best real estate market in the world.
Really?
Particularly for the rental market, because we're the largest rental community on planet Earth. Houston, Texas, for instance, has more rentals. 50% of the population of Houston, Texas, about 6 million people, rent. It's the largest apartment concentration in the world. You go to Dubai, you can't really do rentals like that. Or you go to Canada, you can't find big rental communities like you'll see in Hollywood where you live. You see those big complexes, that's the kind of stuff we buy, the new stuff.
Yeah, everyone I know rents because we're in LA.
Yeah. And by the way, it's cheaper to rent in LA than it is to own.
Definitely. Yeah.
It's cheaper to rent in Miami by probably 3 times than it is to own. It's cheaper in New York. It's cheaper to rent in New York City by probably 3 or 4 times. So this idea that rent is a waste of money is not true. It's an old idea, came back from my parents, that renting was bad. But that's when a house was $7,500. Today, a house is $400. Average house in America is $440,000. In California, it's $880. The mortgage on an $880,000 house today would be, I don't know what, 800 times, it'd be $56,000 a year in interest. That'd be almost $5,000 a month in interest. That's before HOA, property taxes, or maintenance. So you're talking about a $7,000 or $8,000 mortgage on a median home. This isn't a nice house. So, like, here's some stats today. 8.3% of millionaires are renters today. Not because they can't afford a home, because they'd rather rent. They're like, dude, I'd rather just move in, live there for 10 or 14 months. If they don't treat me right, I'll move out. But I have great amenities. I got a big swimming pool. I got a gym. I got safety. I got security. I'm close to my office, and I didn't have to sign a 30-year mortgage. So back to what are the other good places? Canada. I mean, I wouldn't invest in Canada. You know, they're crashing out right now.
Yeah.
Singapore, maybe, but I don't know the market. Like, would I go to Africa or India? India is going to build a big middle class, but I don't know the market. So if you don't know the market, I don't know how to go invest.
Have you looked into Eastern Europe at all?
Yeah, but where, dude? Where? Bulgaria?
Maybe Poland?
Poland? Fuck, I mean, why? Why would you do that?
I don't know. I've heard from some real estate guys that they're looking at Poland.
You think the people in Poland want to be in Poland, or you think they want to be in LA?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Right? Like, this is the greatest place in the world. Okay? This is, I mean, particularly here in California. Like, if you could buy in California where there's not rent control and where you can actually evict a tenant, because your governor here is freaking nuts, okay? Every time they put the rent controls on and the eviction moratoriums, what happens is the price of the real estate goes up. It doesn't go down. So the very people they're trying to help, they're hurting because things get more expensive.
Yeah.
And if the Chicago, New York City, let's see, Boston, take LA, San Francisco, San Diego, all those places have heavy controls by the government. In every one of those cases, the government, the Democratic government, says, hey, we're going to regulate.
What is the best kept secret of the ultra wealthy? Grant reveals key practices of the ultra wealthy, focusing on strategies to build generational wealth. He stresses the importance of long-term thinking and adopting wealth-building habits that create sustainable financial freedom. By learning from these strategies, we can position ourselves to secure not only our futures, but also the futures of generations to come.
We're going to put rent controls on, and we're going to not evict. You can't evict the bad players. You probably pay your rent on time.
Yeah.
Ty Lopez didn't pay his rent. Dude, you need to be able to evict Ty. You know, you got to be able to get him off the property. But in California, it could be 8 or 9 months to get him out of the property, right? So, I'm not saying Ty doesn't pay his rent. I'm sure he does. But I'm just saying, like, if you can't get him out, what happens is nobody wants to trade their property. And it makes the properties more and more expensive. So the better places are where there is protection for the property owner, no rent controls, let the marketplace do its thing. Because if there's no rent controls, people will build more. And when people build more, the supply increases and the prices come down.
So rent control kind of stops the flow of cash.
Rent control, when you do rent control, what happens is, okay, I can't raise my rents, right? So let's say you're in my property and the government comes out and says, you cannot raise your rents above this level. Then you're not going to move out. Okay, so let's say you're you're right here in Santa Monica or Malibu on the ocean, and I bought this place 10 years ago and the rent was, whatever, $4,000. You move in 10 years ago. And the rents were $4,000 back 10 years ago because you're on the ocean, you can hear the water, it's crashing, it's beautiful. And the property value starts skyrocketing here because a bunch of people bought on Carbon Beach, a bunch of billionaire guys bought and, accumulated a bunch of property. And the next thing you know, the rents in the surrounding area have gone to $8,000, but I can't get your ass out of the property, dude. And you won't leave.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I'm staying here. Well, you're not a renter, bro. You're an owner in the property. Okay, because I can't move you out. It keeps the value of the property to where I can't sell it, can't trade it. And if I can't sell and trade the property, guess what? There's no activity. So basically anything that is for sale skyrockets. You understand? Because let's say these 10 guys just west of me right here.
Yeah.
They cannot move the tenant out. The guy that owns it doesn't actually own it because I can't get you out of the property.
So you think we should ban rent
So
control?
the one guy that wants 100%, the one guy that wants to sell commands any price he wants for his property. So it was worth 10 million. Now I'm like, dude, it's worth whatever I want it to be worth. And that's what skyrockets prices. So rent controls absolutely should be abolished in all of America. Let the rents go where the rents go. And when they do, builders will build. Okay, they'll spend whatever money they have to build. And the more supply will then reduce the pricing.
So we were supposed to meet a few days ago when you spoke at Trump's rally. Our flight got delayed, so we couldn't
that's
make
right.
it out
You were
there.
coming in, yeah.
So why did you speak at a Trump rally?
Why? Because I'm pissed off, dude. I'm tired of the direction of, the U.S. dollar. I'm tired of the inflation. I'm tired of the regulations. I'm tired of the lies. The mandates, the censorship. I don't know if you were censored during COVID with your shows, but I know I was.
I'm still censored today. I can't post on TikTok, really.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane. We live in this country. I could go to Dubai. I'll bet you would not be censored in Dubai, where they say there's censorship. Okay, and here you are in America. We're paying taxes. You're paying taxes that you shouldn't be paying. I don't pay taxes like the way you pay them because I'm a real estate investor and it has all the loopholes. But if you're a creative talent online.
What do you think about Grant Cardone's unconventional advice? Has his perspective challenged any of your beliefs about money, taxes, or success? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, peace.